My name is Rhapsody, his name is Reader of Retromation. Welcome back to Stardew Valley. How's it going, bud?
Stu's Dew Valley.
Stardew Valley.
That's going great. Going great. Who's Stu?
There is no
Who's
Stu in
Stu,
this town. Stu is one of the modded characters that I plan on implementing.
Oh, I do want to do modded Stardew.
Yes, no, I did see after the series is over, it's something that you're highly considering. What kind of mods would you want to run?
I mean, I would have to figure out what kind of mods exist. Like I've seen like a tractor mod. I've seen new NPCs.
Mhm.
I've seen like a mode that just makes the game actually more challenging. All kinds of stuff. There's like a ridiculous amount of mods for the game. I'd have to figure out what I would add later. I'm sure there's all kinds of good ones.
I've always felt like this game has the qualities of being eminently moddable, but I've just never seen any of the mods. Like it seems like every other game that is so moddable has one big killer mod. I can't see what the killer mod is for this game.
I don't know. I'm sure there is one. I'm sure there is. But like I don't know what it is. I mean, the Battle Royale mod seems interesting, but that's not it. So what do we have to do?
Water all the plants and then pat the pets and stuff like that. I think you've got, you've got Robin down here already building another one for us. That's handy.
Okay.
Maybe we should get another chicken.
Sure. I know there's a mod that whenever you open up the minimap, it tells you exactly where every person is.
I like that a lot. I frankly think
Yes.
that should probably be a base feature of the game. I don't like having to go to the wiki just to look up, okay, where is Demetrius on Thursday afternoons?
Yeah, that's one that I was considering adding to my not modded series.
Mm-hmm.
But I always feel like it has to be all or nothing. Like, this is a modded series and it's wacky, or just like this is a series.
Yeah. I mean,
But
I think this far after the release of the game, there is an argument to be made for just kind of like more standard, like more obviously integratable mods to just be used anyway.
yeah.
Especially like
What's your
quality of
favorite
life
mod?
ones that don't really add content.
What's your favorite mod in general for anything?
Favorite mod in general? It like the Fallout 1 revival project might be it, just because it was the thing that enabled me to get into Fallout 1. Actually, I think the revival project is number 2. Like, I don't remember the name of it, but it's effectively like Fallout 1 updated. It might be. What games do I even play that were heavily moddable?
Slay the Spire.
Slay the Spire is heavily moddable. I really still love like a lot of the kitchen sink kind of like broader mods for that game that I played, like Hubris and Replay the Spire as well. I think actually probably one of my favorites was the Bard. I found the Bard so interesting.
What do they do?
So
What's neat about him?
So the Bard would play cards that would give you one note as well, like kind of in the same way that the defect channels orbs. You would channel notes, and then when you had like your bar full out with notes, you could click on the bar and then use that based on what combinations of notes were in there to cast another ability. It would effectively just generate and play a card for you instantly. But because
like an invoker?
Kind of like an
of a
invoker,
situation?
but any unused notes would just go, like, they would stay, and all of the used notes would disappear, so you end up with a bar that's just constantly got notes in it, and you're just cycling out notes to try and make different patterns. But one of the cool things is you could make a pattern, and then, in doing so, remove those notes, and move the other two notes, the other notes together, and that would make another pattern. It would be really cool. And all the cards were really well made, and there was a little bit of a reference to me in there that I liked a lot. I felt
It's perfect then.
exactly.
That is the best.
Great mod.
I mean, I feel like a Bard character with a reference to Rhapsody is like pretty. That's like that's a match made in heaven, right there.
It was like perfectly positioned to be in there. Yeah, I totally agree. It was in particular, it was the card Rhapsody, which was a legendary card, and I looked at it initially and I was like, look, it would be self-centered to say that this is a reference to me. It's like it's just a musical term, right?
Yes,
but
it is. How
then afterwards, Kyo being the person who made the mod, explained to me, hey, you might want to have a look at that card art again. And the card art, if you like blur your eyes a little, looks exactly like my old channel logo. It's got like the exact same coloration and the exact same kind of swirl and kind of it's so
Well, there you
nice
go.
and so subtle in a way that just feels
That's
good.
the best. That's the best. Always like for referencing things like shows or whatever, just anything that does any kind of referencing. Like when you know what it is, you feel like it feels great to see and notice it, and you feel like you're part of a secret club. But if you don't know what it is, it doesn't ruin it at all. Like a lot of other, like a modded item in a game could just be like just such an obvious, overt, like pandering kind of a thing, and it's just like it's part of a mod pack with a bunch of items or something, and it would have or cards, and this one card's just like, I mean, I don't get it. Like it's not like I got an item in the More Fluff Dicey Dungeons mod now. That's just called Differing Thorns because of a moment where every time in Parallel Universe I yell that Thorns is different because I always forget, because I'm like, I can't attack them because they have thorns, but it just heals them in that mode.
Yep.
So I yell Thorns is different. So Jackie added Differing Thorns, and it's you can put in 2 max 3 and you gain thorns equal to the difference between the dice.
Love it.
And I love it. I love it. It's so good.
Those are exactly the kind of ones that I love. The kind of like, they're very, very they're subtle and they preserve tonal unity with like the rest of the game. When things are so obviously references, even if you don't know what they're a reference to, that's the only point where I'm like, love that.
Yeah. It's like instead if you put in a card that was like the Retromation, when you put in a 6, play Enter the Gungeon instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I would low key
Which would
love
have
a
been a good
card.
card.
I would low key love a card that just is called New Sixes. It's just,
I know.
you put a 6 in and it gives you some 6s back.
I recorded a dicey. That's never gonna go away for me. Every time I got 6 6 charm or something like that. Not even just it wasn't even new 6s. It's just it was it might be modded. It's just put in 6 pips, get a 6 back, and every time I had to. I did it every time. New 6. It's just I can't get over that.
I loved it so much. And like I kind of do always like a good joke that's based on like, we both know, like we all know I was wrong, but if you just lean into it as hard as you possibly can, you kind of redeem yourself and roll out of it. It's fine.
It's great. it's so good. I can't. It makes me smile every time. It'll live on past your Dicey series into my Dicey series.
Sincerely appreciated. It needed a home.
Highly recommended checking out the More Fluff mod, though. It is bonkers. 700 new items. 700.
My God. The only thing that's stopping me is just time. There are so many games out at the moment, and so many series to run.
I recommend it as just like a sit down and play one afternoon. If nothing else. It's just not that the game it just variety is all it needed to keep playing. Yeah. Like Terry said, you made the game and he was like, I expected people to get 20 hours out of this game and then stop. And then it's like, and everyone who plays any roguelike's like, why can't I get 100 hours and to scratch the surface 100 hours?
Yeah. You know? I mean, he did create a deck builder roguelike. He had to have a little bit of an inkling that people might play it a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like, I don't know, but maybe it feels pretentious to think that, like, especially because I know he made it very much with the episodes in mind. Like, you play it until you beat all the episodes. If you want to play more, you play the bonus round some. I know that was like the idea, and I don't know. I think that he just didn't expect it. I think you never. I know if I make stuff, I don't expect people to like go that crazy with it.
What have you uploaded to your channel that you're like, you know what? This could be it.
What do you mean?
Have you ever uploaded anything that you're like, that you expected to do extremely, extremely well?
Yes.
What was it?
Honestly, I expected the AI dungeon video to do extremely well.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that it was going to do extraordinarily well. I thought I was so happy with it. I thought it could go viral, but I didn't think even though I say that I think it could, it was more like I thought there was a chance. When you upload 3 to 5 videos every day, I'm sure you're probably not like, you don't think in the sense of virality. You think more in the sense, this is going to do better than yesterday's, maybe, Yep. Like based off of the whatever happened in the title or anything. But that was one of those rare scenarios where I was doing something super different. So I'm like, I have nothing to gauge this off of. This could, I don't know. It's a short video. I don't do short videos. I don't do edited videos.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought there's a chance.
It's
but
like,
I also like tempered.
I did actually run across it recently, and it's like, it's still like at 10K, I think at the moment, 15 maybe.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It was at, last I looked, it was at 6,000. So I mean, if that's true, then it did start to pop off, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Well, neat.
It's just really unfortunate when you're like,
I'm gonna quit my job.
Like, oh, one of the best things I've done is in a game that I know no one will watch. Like, I harp on it like a fair bit recently, but I'm really, really, really proud of the Disco Elysium series. But I also understand that, like, having cultivated an audience that's mostly interested in roguelikes, a very, very text-heavy RPG that deals with political and economic philosophy isn't necessarily what they're looking for.
But the thing that to think about with that I've tried to have to tell myself is just like when I was doing Stardew Valley, for example, and the two notable things with this, Stardew Valley and Bug Fables, when they came out, like Stardew Valley didn't really do well, and Bug Fables did pretty good. And now Stardew Valley is my second most watched pilot that's not a Gungeon episode of any series I've ever done. Right? Stardew Valley is my second most. And Bug Fables is getting up there a lot because it's just like, I need to remind myself that, like, first of all, I shouldn't focus too much on stats. Second of all, especially when you're trying out something different, the stats in the first week or even month for evergreen content, like a story that has an end, don't matter as much. Like,
that's definitely true.
That Disco Elysium might catch up to everything else over the course of a year.
Maybe.
Because maybe it will, maybe it won't, whatever. Like, But the fact of the matter is, maybe it doesn't resonate with the people watching, but like, I feel like there's also an important point in doing stuff that is uniquely and obviously not 100% for your main audience,
Yeah.
like to bring in new people. Totally.
I totally agree.
Especially if you like it. Because you might attract people who like Disco Elysium now. That's a benefit too.
Slight digression, but also you might want to go to bed because you're about to pass out. But
fish all day, baby.
Hell yeah, get them done. Go to sleep for night. Oh, I've actually got to click that button. Cool. The long tail that you were talking about there is actually something that's really interesting to me as well, because like when I was doing Darkest Dungeon for my first 2 series on it, so like the base game through, I think I also then did like hardcore through like Stygian or Blood Moon, whatever it was called at the time, and then I did the Crimson Court, and all of those series were about 110, 150 episodes long. and no one
Yeah.
watched them at the time. No one at all.
Yep.
I just
Yep.
played them because I wanted to do them. And then when I did the Color of Madness one, people were like,
Mhm.
"Hell yeah, I can't! I'm super excited to see Darkest Dungeon back." And I get asked about Darkest Dungeon like every other day now. Like
Yeah.
I went back recently and looked like mid-series at the Crimson Court stuff, and it was doing really, really well. So yeah,
Mhm.
I definitely agree with the kind of those things can hit later. But also, I was speaking yesterday with a couple of friends in Discord about the idea of doing Lost Leader series. Effectively,
Yeah.
just like, this isn't in my genre, and I know that I'm kind of doing it quote unquote at cost, opportunity cost. Like I could be doing another series
Yeah.
instead, but
Yeah.
it helps me avoid being pigeonholed as the guy who plays Slay the Spire.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. Is like I played Bug Fables because I like Paper Mario a lot, and I have never played. The last time I played a game like that was in like 2012 or 2013. So I'm like, yeah, I want to show people that like, and the excitement carries through,
Mhm.
you know, like, and so the excitement carries through, and you have this thing that may be evergreen content, you know, like that people find later, and they'll find it over time, and they'll be like, wow, you're really excited
Mhm.
about it, and they'll be into it. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard, and sometimes you can't afford to do lost leaders. Like,
Yeah.
I can't right now, really. Like, I mean, I can, but like you know, like I'm in a situation, curtain back all the way. I'm in a situation where like I'm financially fine,
Mhm.
and things could go bad for a while, and I'd also still be completely fine. But I feel like you have to get yourself in a situation where they would like drop in a heartbeat, and you'd be fine for a while.
Yeah.
You know, like, so it's just like I feel like I can't afford to do anything like that for a while. And the thing is that always gets pushed back, is when you feel like you can afford to do it, it gets pushed back later and later and later.
Mhm.
Like, because I was just like, if I was in the position I was in right now, like a year or two ago, I'd be like, that's it, you're done. Like, if you stay exactly where you are, you're totally fine. But it's like reality hits and bills hit and new medical expenses hit, all that kind of stuff, and you're like, wow, things can go really bad, and you have to be doing really well, and I can't afford to do these things as often. So like when you find like little traces of things doing that are kind of lost leadery, but they do remotely well, aka like me playing Demon Crawl,
Yep.
I'm like, you know, you hold on tight, basically. And I don't know, but
Yeah.
like I could totally see you be like your Disco Elysium series, like over the course of time, going kaboom, like huge, like, you know, like in a year.
I kind of hope
It
so.
could happen.
I think like I might want to do something after I finish the series, like of a kind of like a teaser, a thing that could actually make the rounds. Maybe only inside my own community though, because it would probably be like a compilation of all of the different voices and accents trying to be done over the course.
I've wanted to do that kind of thing a lot. I wanted to do that for like any series that has a concrete end. I've always noodled with doing that. Like everything.
It's just always
Just to
so
kinda
much
try to
time
be like,
invested.
Go back, go look. It's like I need an editor, but I need to make more money to hire an editor because I can't.
I have mentioned before that like if someone were to edit those videos, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Or rather, when
Like,
pressed on that point, I agreed that it would be nice to have edited videos like that. And someone offered their services, like, "Hey Raps, I understand that you need an editor. I'm happy to do this for free." And as soon as I read, "I'm happy to do this for free," I'm like, I can't. I'm sorry. Like I cannot take advantage of your unpaid labor for a product that I would be feasibly profiting off of.
Yeah.
It is against me as a person to do that.
Yeah. I mean, if someone was to do it, I wouldn't be like, don't do it. But if they were to send me a message to be like, do you want me to do this? I would, you know, yeah, I'd have an impossible time saying anything. Like, and that's happened before. I've had, there's been like 3 separate times throughout me doing YouTube. 3 times where someone has actually reached out, different people, and all said that they wanted to edit together like a highlights of the past 10 Gungeon episodes, like to put on my channel or whatever. And it was the same thing. I didn't stop them, but nobody's also like nobody ever actually follows through is the other thing. You know, like compensation would be like they'd actually, you know, stay. That's the other thing is like you want them to feel. I think the product would be better if they got paid. Just probably, right? You know, like with a little fire under the butt, it'd be a better product anyway. On most occasions.
On many.
Fire being money. Or at the very least, like if it was a thing that I was relying on, you know, you wouldn't. It's the same thing as like we were talking in Temtem. Who knows what'll come out? You know, instead of getting the $5 sofa from the side of the road instead of the free one. You get what you pay for.
I mean, I'm kind of fine with free labor. It's just I don't like it when it's something that is being profited off of on one side. No, I don't like it in general, like internships and stuff like that. People doing their passion project. I think like the difference is like someone made like ages ago the Singing Ball compilation. I loved that. That was Gooby who made that.
Yeah,
supremely appreciated. And that was clearly done out of passion, but something that would be made for a commercial end.
Something that would go on your channel.
Exactly. That shouldn't be free. In my estimation.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah. That's why in the past it was for the best of the previous 10 gun episodes or whatever. That would all be. That was all they said. I would put it on my channel, and they asked for permission if that would be okay, and I was like, I'm not gonna copyright strike you. You know, like I'm not gonna copyright strike you. You could, sure. Like it sounds fun, but like it never went through.
Yeah. Although I totally understand that, you know, committing to a project and not necessarily being able to follow through after you realize how large the project is. Weekly one-offs.
That's the the thing that's so funny is that you, for the longest time, you might have changed it now. The longest time, you still had it as like one of your featured things on your channel, and seeing the word weekly every time you go to the channel is so funny.
I think I took that down after a while.
I think it was up like surprisingly recently, but I think, but yeah, it was. I don't know. I think a lot of people would be happy for those to return, but I also understand the whole because everything like when I did my AI dungeon video, I'm like, I'm gonna do more of these, you know, and then I'm like, oh man, that takes like significantly more time for significantly less return. And it's like it's fun, but like so is doing another new thing.
The thing that I thought about it is like, despite the fact that like the weekly one-off actually, I think still to this day has performed worse than a single Slay the Spire episode, but people don't talk about like Slay the Spire episode 221, right? But people still talk to me about the weekly one-off. So like, I'm trying to think of it in different metrics other than like views and comments and likes and stuff as well. That's one thing stuck with me like a long time ago as far as YouTube talk that really like shaped my mentality, and that's to have 2 different types of videos that you always need to, well, you don't always need to, but 2 different types of videos to upload to have success. One that brings them in and one that keeps you on their mind. Like a series that, you know, will perform well in search results and people will want to click on based off of seeing the title and thumbnail alone. Like a series like that, or a series you can do like that, aka Gungeon, aka why I have special images in my Gungeon thumbnails and everything like that makes it so obvious. Each episode clearly stands out from each other and can stand on its own. Yep. And then all my other series, I don't do that because I could. It's a whole lot of effort.
It's a whole lot. One, it's a whole lot of effort. 2, none of them do it quite as easily as Gungeon and its items being so clearly like, you see it at 1 or 2 items, you know exactly, like you get it.
Hmm.
It would work with like with Binding of Isaac. I could see it working very well too.
Yeah, a lot of
And
Binding of
I did
Isaac
that.
creators have that kind of this format. I think Alexa does that for not his
Who's
current
that?
series, but I think sorry.
Who's that?
Oh, sorry, Alexa Kid 64. I think he does that for.
Was it from
some of
the
his
kid from
episodes.
Party Block Anthem?
Yes, yes, he is. Same guy.
Wow. Funny how they grow.
Yeah, I know.
Feels like he
I'm
was
sad
just
that Party Block
64
Anthem
kids
is over.
yesterday. It's sad that feels like just yesterday he was 64 kids.
Mm.
Yeah, I think he does too. I think a lot of people do. But yeah, it's like, oh, I'll do that, and then I'll have all my other series where like, I don't know, maybe they could at one point. I could see Undermine doing it like as they get more items and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I like there was when Crystalline update dropped, I was gonna for that that mini series or whatever you want to call it reboot. I was gonna start doing it, and then I was like, wow, every run just would have the same item.
Yeah,
So it's just like,
Chakram again.
yeah, it's Chakram. Different though. But like you can actually do it now. It's still pretty samey. Like I think maybe on release that it has that kind of a thing too. But
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna play the new update because like the small experience I had with it was very bugged.
that's why. Yeah, I don't get it. I saw, and I like. I mean, this is I don't I don't care if you do or don't play the game,
Mm.
but I am absolutely like I think it's good. So I think you think it's good with the new update, but whether or not if you don't want to play it, I don't want you to play it. But I've never seen half of what you saw in that one episode over my entire course of playing Undermine.
Yep.
I have no idea what deity you angered
I
to
think
make that episode happen, but I've never seen any of that happen ever before.
I think it might have largely just been that I had the Tsar bomber in both of the runs, and it seemed to be bugged to high heck at the time.
Well, I know they've changed that a lot. They've
Yes.
changed that bomb a lot.
Like it's a series that I always do want to go back to, but like I find myself occasionally during episodes getting frustrated at the game.
Yeah, it's not designed around. Oh, dang it! It's not designed around. Much like the Dicey Dungeons thing, it's not designed around the people who are like, I want 100 hours. But
Mhm.
that's like, you kind of have to design around that for a roguelike. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because that's what unfortunately for the developers, like the quote unquote shortcut that the developers take when they're making a roguelike being not having to develop as long of a story, so they're supposed just do the same thing but do it over and over. It's not actually an excuse to make the game only feel like you should be playing it for 5 hours, 10 hours. The same. It's not like by doing that you're kind of saying like, I'm trying to give you an endlessly replay. I'm trying to give you an experience that takes an hour to complete, but you want to play it potentially with the right person forever.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like it's not actually a shortcut. But I think some developers think it's a shortcut.
It
It seems like.
it just seems like the genre as a whole doesn't lend itself to that with the pseudo-random elements and the fact that like many of them have so many different interacting systems layered atop one another. It always means that you can have unique runs, and
Yeah.
when that's like not capitalized upon, it can be a little frustrating. I don't know. My
Yeah.
problem with Undermine actually wasn't even that. My problem with Undermine was just largely that, similar to Isaac, I would have like a couple things where I'm like, that's complete BS. That shouldn't have happened. That shouldn't be able to happen.
Like
And-
what? Like a thing an enemy would do or something, or
I
what?
think an enemy would do like a hit, like especially the jumps and the arcing of bullets in 3D space in that game.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
fire that looks like it slightly rises up and then it lands directly next to you, and you're like, that was going to the other side of the map.
Yeah. Undermine needs to decide if it wants iframes on its jump.
Yeah.
Because And I think it needs iframes on its jump because you basically have iframes on your jump. But the word basically and iframes in the same sentence is a recipe for disaster.
Mm-hmm.
You need guaranteed iframes or no iframes. You know, like, I don't know. It's like, and I found out that that's a big reason why I think Wizard of Legend lets me down. Is it doesn't have iframes, and it's totally a game that should.
Yep. Totally
Because
agree.
it's like a game that you can get comboed to death. You need good defensive capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
You need capabilities that seem busted.
Does Dead Cells have iframes?
It does on the dodge.
Ah.
And I gotta say, I gotta tell you, the last time you heard me talk about Dead Cells, I was not as pro on it, but I gotta say it's grown on me a hell of a lot since then. It's really grown on me. It might be worth checking out.
Ooh, I'm extremely excited to hear it. But for the moment, that's the end of our episode. My name's been Rhapsody. His name's been Rito of Retromation. There's a playlist in the description down below with all of the content you could possibly need in your life. Hopefully you've been enjoying yourselves, and hopefully we'll see you next time.
Bye.